And welcome back to another episode of Life in Prison. As always, my name is Zach. So for the ones that are new, first timers, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification button so you can be first informed when I upload. So for the ones that are returning, as always, I greatly appreciate your support. So what I do on this channel, I speak about the time that I spent in prison. I spent 5 years of my life in West Virginia maximum security prison up at Mount Olive Correctional Complex in Huntsville Correctional Center from 2011 to 2016. Since returning, I've received my medical degree, and I'm currently working in urgent care helping others who unfortunately cannot help themselves. I also do video chat interviews and phone interviews with inmates still locked up in prison. Murder, drug charges, thieving, just showing you a first-hand look what it's really actually like living life in prison. You can sell guns, you can shoot dope, you can steal things, but at the end of the day, it's gonna get you in 7x12, and you ain't gonna like it. So sit back, relax, I hope you enjoy this episode. Today, what we're gonna be talking about is getting robbed in prison. What happens when you get jacked while incarcerated? So, regardless if it's jail or if it's prison, there's always gonna be one outcome. Should only be one outcome. You better find out who did it. And if you don't, you better say something at least. Because this is how a lot of times it'll happen. A majority of the times with people that's incarcerated, it's, now don't get me wrong, it does happen, don't get me wrong, but a majority of the time, the ones that I personally saw, it was a lot of people going into people's cells, sneaking, stealing their stuff, and then running out. Not taking it from them, but being sneaky about it. And then when that person comes out into the pod and announces that whoever stole their stuff, their mom's a bitch, their dog's a bitch, everyone's bitches and whores, pretty much. The thing is, the people that actually took the stuff, they don't do anything about it. So at the end of the day, technically you're getting called out because people know that you took their stuff. They hear what this person's saying out there in the pod, calling you every single name under the sun, right? But yet you don't do anything. So does that make you weak then? Because they called you this name, but you didn't do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? This many cases I've seen, dozens upon dozens upon dozens upon dozens of situations just like that. People going, stealing stuff, being sneaky, and not doing anything about it. Now, don't get me wrong. No one's safe. And I mean, it's not just the rats, it's not just the child molesters, it's not just the tiddly toddlers, it's not just those dudes that's getting robbed or stuff taken from. It's also people in these gangs. Now, whenever you're in a higher security prison, now don't get me wrong, I do realize that there is gangs in lower security prisons, but the politics and just the atmosphere in general is completely different. Politics run max and supermax prisons, as in the gangs run these prisons. Obviously the COs run it, but you get what I'm saying, right? So whenever you have a majority of people that are in gangs and then they get robbed, now these gangs are all involved, right? But what will happen is people will, I'm not going to say fish, they're going to pick out the weak. If they know that you joined the gang for a wrong reason, they will make sure that everyone sees that you get punked. There's a lot of dudes I was locked up with that was serving life sentences, right? And they had nothing to lose. And like I said in previous videos, the way that people think that they gain respect in prison is through violence, right? So whenever you got these OGs, right, that have been in the game for 30, 40 years, and you've got these young cats coming in, you know, late teens, early 20s, and they're new to the game, and they're loud. You know what I'm saying? They're really boisterous. The real He-Man type of guys, you know what I'm saying? As I said, people think that you gotta be tough, you gotta be violent to be respected. So you got these new dudes who are freshly in, that's in their head. So they think if they're being loud and kind of bullying everybody, sheep, right? If you're sheep killing, right? If you're young, you come in and you're doing a lot of sheep killing and being real loud, these guys will test you. And how they'll test you is a sort of different things. One, they'll start out by taking your stuff and see if you say anything. Because if you don't say anything, then they already know that you're soft, right? So they'll start taking your stuff, or they'll start pretty much bullying you now. So just like you were doing with these sheep, these lackeys, or the people that won't stand up for themselves, right? You got the dudes in prison that just want to go home. They don't want no trouble. They don't want no fights. They don't go looking for fights. So if you smack them, they're not going to do anything because they don't want to go to the hole. Those type of guys, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But you get picked on if you do that. You get what I'm saying? There's a difference between sticking to yourself and going home opposed to letting people punk you on purpose and going home. Your ride's not going to be good. So they're going to start punking you now, taking your stuff, slapping you around in the day room, slapping you around in the hallway, in the chow hall, letting it be known, or straight disrespecting you, calling you out of your name, as in the whores, the punks, the bitches, all the no words in prison. They'll start saying it out loud. Seeing if you say anything. If you pull them up and be like, hey, look, man, you know what I'm saying? I know we homeboys, you know, we part of the gang, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, just don't say that. You know what I'm saying? That's not my name. Don't say that. That's what they're expecting. Like, don't let me catch you calling me out of my name. That's what they want to hear. Not you just not saying anything because, well, it is what it is, right? Obviously, you're in a situation you shouldn't put yourself in. So a lot of gang members, unfortunately, will scour the prisons, right? And since they know they have numbers, you got these new dudes. Since they know they have numbers, that's when people start getting targeted. This is when it comes into play. Yes, a majority of people in prison that are getting robbed, getting jacked, are the ones that got messed up charges, the ones that are rats. They are getting targeted on a daily basis. You gotta think there's 1,000+ inmates in prison. A majority of them, at least 300-400 of those ones are gonna be rats, okay? It is what it is. It's statistics, right? Especially nowadays. A lot of people just get away with it and there's nothing being done, so more and more people are just doing it. It's normal. Most people are like, well, he didn't rat on me, so I don't care. That's how it goes. Back then, there would have been none of that. So, whenever you got these dudes just scouring the prison and robbing everybody, you don't really get brownie points for that. And the reason being is because if you feel that someone is not worthy of whatever item that they have, take it from them. As in, they're in their cell, you go in their cell, tell them, I'm taking this, do something about it, right? Give them that opportunity, give them that chance. Honestly, there's a few times I've seen individuals get their ass whooped doing exactly that by the person that they trying to rob, right? They trying to take their stuff because they think they saw, but they actually get their ass whooped. So you win some, you lose some. As I said before, it happens, right? So if you put yourself in those types of situations, hunting, looking for trouble, like, it's bound to happen. My advice, as I've said, and I will always say, don't get yourself in the mix. Regardless if you're in prison or if you're out here on the streets, don't put yourself in the mix because you will get in trouble. So whenever you got these individuals that's in their head, they think when they go around these sheep, right, these docile, these timid individuals in prison, they think that if they punk them, that they're getting brownie points, that people think that they're badasses. No, individuals that have been in prison long enough, they see through that because they've already went through those stages. They've already learned the game in prison. It's funny because a majority of people coming into prison, they have the same mentality because the only thing that they know is what they've heard from people that have either been to prison or haven't been to prison. They're just telling stories, right? So, same as me. I go into prison thinking it's going to be this gladiator school. Well, technically it was. But you know what I'm saying? There's this vision that you have of what prison's supposed to be. Now, some is and some's not, depending on classification and on state as well. So, whenever I'm sitting in prison, I see a lot of these dudes robbing their own homeboys because they got strung out on K2 or weed or Suboxone, coke, dope, whatever it may be. When you're robbing your own homeboys, that's not only your homeboy from the street, but a lot of the time part of the same gang, then you know there's something wrong. Unfortunately, a lot of the times it's people stealing from their own people because they know people's schedules. Now, if I know every day you get up, go to breakfast 5 in the morning, your cell's unaccompanied, most people in the pod are sleeping or at chow, that's the time to hit. So you'd come back from chow, say something in the pod while your homeboy's standing right beside you like, yeah, we gonna get somebody, knowing he's the one that did it. Like I said, it's never bite the hand that feeds you, especially if you are scared and you can't go and get yourself fed, so you want other people to feed you. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Do not do that. There's no point in, for one, stealing anything. Work for it. You know what I'm saying? Or if you feel that they're not worthy, whatever it may be, give them the opportunity to fight back. You might be surprised. Most of the time, the people are scared. That's why they do it sneakily behind their back. Now, did I ever get robbed in prison? No. Could I have? Oh, absolutely. For sure. You know what I'm saying? Thieving, they don't have, how can you say it? People who are thieving don't, I'm not going to say pick and choose. I've seen people in high tops and gangs get robbed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the luck of the draw, technically. Luckily, I was on a pod where I was in my own cell. So a lot of the people that have cellies, sometimes your cellie can be a good thing and sometimes it can be a bad thing. If you piss your cellie off, they are going to be #1 person to give outsiders your daily schedule. Once you're in a cell with somebody for months and years, you know their routine. I don't know how many times I've seen people's cellies set their own people up just because you might fart in your sleep, you might snore, you might be disrespectful to your cellie. Whatever the reason may be, you always want to watch for #1. Always, always, always. We all know that in prison, thievery always gets worse whenever there's substances available. As in cigarettes, any type of drugs, any type of stimulant, hooch, wine, toilet wine, whatever you want to call it. Cigarette, whatever it may be, drugs in general, that's the go-to. Now, phones is another high commodity, but once drugs get involved, there's going to be even more robberies. Now, not only that, there's going to be people that are somehow getting into certain parts of the prison and getting hold of certain items, because you got to think, even a clicky pen, a big pen, a clicky big pen, that's not something you can have in prison. So even a pen can go for some money. So you can only think of people getting caught coming down the halls with things. I've seen people try to steal monitors from computers to obviously use that in their cell as a TV for their Xbox, PlayStation. I've seen people try to take TVs, typewriters, computers, cell phones, handbags, book bags, sunglasses, you name it. If an inmate can stick it in their pocket or stuff it down their pants or under their shirt, best to believe they're going to try to take it. Whenever people go and rob COs for their personal belongings, like their wallets, right, with their IDs and social security cards and stuff in it, that's when it really gets crazy. I've seen that twice before, where inmates somehow got a hold of a purse and a wallet, had everyone's everything, credit card information, social security card, ID, phone was in there, everything you can think of. Now, what did they do? They took the cash out, then they ditched the purse and the wallet somewhere on the other side of the prison somewhere, where obviously it wouldn't get back to them. Now with so many cameras, obviously if you know prison long enough, you'll know where the hiding spots is. But as I said, nothing is safe, especially when inmates are on the fiending frenzy. They will rob anybody, it doesn't matter. As I said, their own homeboys are fair game. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was just a short one talking about pretty much getting jacked in prison, getting robbed. It happens to all of us. No one's safe. I don't care how big of a bad person you are. A crackhead does not care. He will worry about those situations after he gets his fix. So, be careful. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification button so you get first informed when I upload. I greatly appreciate you guys' continued support. I will continue to try to keep a consistent upload. I've been slacking for a while. Thank you guys for staying tuned. As always, I send my utmost love, loyalty, respect. Keep pushing positivity, guys, and I hope you come back for more. We gone.